special correspondent Gallagher Fenwick is in Ramallah. He's at one of those protests and we can speak to him now. Gallagher, thanks for joining us. Tell us what's happening where you are.
Our last live shot, as you may have seen, was interrupted by live fire. We were literally caught in the crossfire between Palestinians firing live bullets, which is an extremely rare occurrence in the West Bank, at Israeli soldiers. Israeli TV now reporting that some Israeli soldiers who were posted on the hill right behind me were actually wounded in this extremely violent confrontation, which basically unfolded during a few minutes that literally caught this massive crowd out here completely off guard. Very many Palestinians held this day dearly, explaining to us in various interviews we had been conducting up until now that this is a family protest. We saw many people bringing their children here and explaining that the current situation both in the Gaza Strip and in Jerusalem has unified Palestinians from the Mediterranean to the Jordan River. But this scene that we saw unfold will have consequences. Which ones? It's obviously very difficult to tell at this point, but this was immediately followed by another rather intense occurrence where Palestinian youths who up until then had been pelting stones, firebombs, Molotov cocktails at the soldiers who made a brief incursion near their position, then caught a hold of a vehicle and basically extracted the people out of the vehicle and were shouting that these were Israeli police officers or soldiers dressed as Palestinian protesters who were attempting to infiltrate this process. This is a technique which has been in the past used by Israeli forces indeed to make arrests in the West Bank, but it's extremely rare to actually witness that. As a journalist, it's of course absolutely impossible at this point to verify the accuracy of the information that was being given to us by these youths who had surrounded that vehicle, were pelting it, prevented it from moving forward, and then proceeded to extract the folks who were in there. So a very tense atmosphere out here. This begun as a scene that we have seen unfold very many times in the past with the usual, non-lethal or at times lethal confrontation between soldiers, settlers, and Palestinian youths, with some occurrences of live fire. But this was a genuine battle here between, on the one side, Palestinians and Israelis on the other in this parts of Ramallah in the occupied West Bank.
Yeah, really tense scenes you're describing to us there that you've been witnessing, Gallagher. We can hear some of the sirens going off in the background. Tell us briefly about these strikes that have also been taking place in the occupied Palestinian territories today. Are these being widely observed?
Yes, absolutely. The mobilization is huge. I'm being told by onlookers here, locals, Palestinians, that this had not taken place in this sort of proportion in years. So one onlooker telling me that he hadn't seen a crowd this big and this diverse in terms of the generations represented here since the second Intifada back in the year 2000. So you have a very strong mobilization, and we're also being told that these scenes are also playing out in various different parts of the West Bank. And the unprecedented nature of what's going on here as well is that Arab Israelis, Palestinians from Israel, 20% of Israel's population, were also keen to join into this massive mobilization in solidarity with Gaza and with Jerusalem.
All right, Gallagher Fenwick for us there in Ramallah. Thank you very much indeed for your reporting. Stay safe. Do stay with us throughout the day. We'll be checking in with Gallagher as we keep watching what's happening there in the West Bank, as well as in other parts of Israel and the Palestinian territories.